I'm only gonna say it like this. If they can give me knowledge to predict that we're gonna be a sunset that happen, if they can give me knowledge to predict every single day what happened till this day, if they can give me knowledge to predict that today the sun and the moon will rise up together. Be careful, YouTube. The video where the sun was penetrated today, I want you to post it. You still leave it in my favorite. It's an important video. Post it. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Both my husband and I witnessed 3 amber orbs in a triangle formation, one on top and 2 closely aligned underneath, very close to our home, about 100 yards from our home, hovering above a private desert area. It was startling and it was amazing. At the same time, there was nothing there but blackness and these 3 amber orbs. And something told me to take everything in, the size, the shape, the color, the distance. They were about 3 to 6 feet each, depending on how close or far away they were. They were definitely oval shaped. And the amber color within each orb, and I called them an orb because the light did not extend outside an edge at all. It was totally self-contained. It was very uniform amber color, and it didn't glare at all. Every other light out there glares. And we have a beautiful panoramic view of the city skyline, so we know what helicopters and plane lights and street lights and so forth. Every light out there glares. These did not. Very soothing, very mesmerizing. And I thought, if I don't get a picture of this, nobody's going to believe it. And as I ran to the closet to get my camera, my husband calls me back. He says, get over here quick. One of them is disappearing. And as I rushed back, we both watched in awe as the top orb started to dim as if on a dimmer switch. It didn't budge at all. It didn't waver. It didn't take off. It just dimmed as if it was on a dimmer switch, as if once it disappeared, it was still there, but we didn't see it anymore. I got onto the balcony, shot a quick picture of the 2 bottom orbs, and immediately noticed an eerie silence, as if time had stopped. It was quite extraordinary, and as I'm staring at these 2 bottom orbs, I have to admit it seemed that there was intelligent presence staring back. The thoughts going through my mind were, who are you? What are you? Do you know that I'm here? I'd love to meet you. And the next thing I remember, the left bottom orb started to disappear, and I quickly shot a picture of that. And that was the only picture that turned out at the time, but for me, it was quite amazing because it verified that something did happen. I caught a picture of it, amazingly, as one was disappearing and one was still there. I put it on my mantle and kind of watched it for a little bit and wondered if I'd ever find out what this was. Eventually put the picture away, but I have to tell you that even though the picture was out of sight, the thought and the memory wasn't out of my mind. Did not see anything for 2 years. 2 years passed, and not a hint of anything, even remotely close to these amber orbs. January 22nd, 1997, I noticed 3 amber orbs now at a distance far west on the horizon. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, even though they're in a line formation, they were amber, they were in a formation, they were hovering for minutes, strangely similar to the 95 incident. The next night, the 3 amber orbs are now in front of South Mountain. And I knew they were in front of South Mountain because there's red blinking warning lights for the airplanes that are coming into Sky Harbor just in front of South Mountain. And this was definitely lower and in front of South Mountain. And I thought, enough, I'm getting my video camera. I ran downstairs, I grabbed my video camera, I got out to the pool area. I took about 18 seconds worth, the battery went dead. I walk inside, hook up the battery, run outside, they're gone. Now, this was about 8 o'clock. About a half hour later, my husband comes up the drive, and I gingerly walk outside, and I said, honey, remember I told you about the amber orbs far west last night? Well, about a half hour ago, they were right in front of South Mountain. As I'm pointing, like this, they reappear in the same spot. And I thought, I have to get a picture of this. And I ran upstairs, I grabbed my 35mm, get out onto the balcony. As I'm ready to shoot the 3 bottom orbs, suddenly 6 amber orbs in a row, totally equidistant from each other, massive span across pop up above the 3. And I started clicking away. I happened to get 6 pictures in a row. As the 3 bottom oars were disappearing, I caught this top formation, which, by the way, in retrospect, was in the same location and the same formation as 2 months later, on March 13th, 1997, during the mass sighting. And I ran in to call the Arizona Republic because I wanted to get somebody out there to tell me what it was. And I get an operator on the phone, and I said, quick, you got to get somebody out there. There's some strange lights in front of South Mountain. Please, get somebody out there, take a picture of it, whatever, but tell me what it is. As I finished my sentence, they're gone. By the next morning, I figured there must be a logical explanation, and I called the Arizona City desk again and asked if anybody had called the night before to report strange lights in front of South Mountain. The operator got off. She got right back on. She said, nope, nobody called. Well, I know I called. So I said, well, we did see something that was strange. Who can I call to find out what they might be? And she said, well, look, Air Force Base sometimes sends out experimental maneuvers, and they don't tell the public about them. And I said, well, that might be a good lead. And I call Luke Air Force Base. I get a woman lieutenant on the phone and tried to be very professional. I said, my husband and I are both physicians. We live mountainside in Paradise Valley, and we saw some strange lights in front of South Mountain last night. Do you know what they might have been? And from the get-go, she had an attitude, and she said, well, they didn't come into Luke Air Force Base, and they didn't come out from here, so we had nothing to do with them. I said, well, be that as it may, we did see them. We both saw them, and I did get some on video. Somebody has to know what they were. They were really, really strange.
Those lights are right now outside my house. Those street lights. And those street lights were every night above the Montreal when they locked me up. You know it. You the big eyes. Right? She see the same thing. But the difference is, she saying something and having it penetrated in your eye live in YouTube. That's different. That's why I know more than they do, because they have questions, I have answers. I was online, just like today. The sun penetrated in my eye again in my kitchen. You post 2 videos, you don't post the other one. I want you to post it. It's important that you do. You post the ones that have less light in my face, and you don't post the one that have more light in my face, the one that shows where they were blocking it. It's no different than you suspend the accounts where it really happened. Be careful, really.
She said, well, you mentioned it was in front of South Mountain. Maybe somebody saw something at the airport, which is in front of South Mountain. And I thought, oh, that's a great idea. So now it was a mission. I had to find out what this was. I got the FAA on the phone. I told them the same thing. And he said, actually, there were 3 at 8 o'clock. They looked on radar. They didn't show up on radar. The 3 disappeared. At 8:30, the 6 popped up.
The air traffic controllers at Sky Harbor Airport saw it, saw the same lights, but did not see them on radar. And they've seen flares before. In fact, from their vantage point, the tower, they wouldn't be able to see over the angle of the mountains and see over into the very Goldwater Range.
After he picked up binoculars to look, it was that unusual. They were 6 points of light that seemed to be attached to something, but they couldn't see what it was attached to. Slowly moving in synchrony, as we call it, in tandem, behind South Mountain. So I said,
lady, for the people who watch you who curious, the next video I will tell you what I want to say. I'm already run out of time. That was Big Brother pumping the wallet to hide it.